What's up, guys? Welcome back to the poker vlogs. We have a new addition here, Aston. Yeah, we picked him up Wednesday. Anyways, I'm gonna go over some hands from a cash game I played. Oof, it's getting close to a week. I'm a little behind on these. Let's just say I didn't do too well in this cash tournament. I'm gonna cover a couple hands where I think I could have improved potentially, what I could have done differently, maybe isolated some hands, gotten some people out of the pot while also potentially increasing pot size. Yeah, so I guess let's just get right into it and we'll see how many hands we can cover in a short amount of time so this vlog isn't crazy long. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, please consider hitting that subscribe button and giving this video a thumbs up. Anyways, on to the hands. So the very first hand, well, I guess we've been involved in a couple hands, but at this point, the first decent hand we have here, we start off the night pretty well. We have ace-7 in middle position offsuit. Not terrible, but we're definitely going to play this. Everybody limps in for 100, well, not everybody, 6 people out of the 8. We all limp in for 600 total pot size, minus the rake that PokerStars decides to take. And we go to the flop 6 ways. Now this isn't ideal. I probably should have raised it up to like 200-300. It's pretty early on. Why not do that? You could probably get rid of some people here, but unfortunately I don't. So I probably could have built the pot up a little bit. However, you also don't know with this group of people. Some of them might also fold. Either way, we go to the flop. Nice rainbow. And we hit our ace pair. So this is good for us. At this point in time, it checks 3 people and comes to me. I decided to throw out a bet of 200. At this point, there's still a good amount of people in the hand. It's about a third pot size bet. I think it's not terrible. I might have been able to go up to like 300, do half pot size. I didn't want to necessarily scare people off. The only hand I'm really worried about is the 3-4 suited that the button could potentially have, or maybe just a 3 or a 4 in their hand, which gives them a gut shot straight draw. But either way, everyone ends up folding except for him, who just calls and doesn't raise, so I'm not too worried. So we're going to the turn heads up. The turn comes the Jack of Diamonds. This doesn't really change much. I mean, I guess if you had like Queen King, you're potentially on a straight draw, but I don't really see them necessarily calling that bet that I placed. Just the way this player typically plays. A little bit tighter. If he didn't hit something, he would probably fold. Not sure what he has at this point. But either way, we go ahead and throw out a half pot bet, and he makes the call. So I'm thinking he could potentially have jacks, which is good for me, seeing as I have top pair. So we're going to the river, and the river doesn't change much as well. I mean, 3s get there on the straight, but that's really my only worry. So I was thinking of doing a check raise here. However, I don't think that's ever a good call. My reasoning for that is because the only thing that really beats us is a straight. So if he's going to bet and has the nuts, then by check raising, I am immediately in a losing position. If I lead out and bet, I could potentially bet if he raises, then fold, assuming that he probably has the nuts. Otherwise, he might call me with anything else. So I really should have bet here. Probably could have gotten some more value out of this hand. Either way, it checks through. We end up taking down the hand, so it's a win, but definitely could have gotten some more value out of this. And I think next time, definitely need to lead with a bet. It shouldn't be a check raise in this situation. So the next hand we get involved in, we're in the big blind with ace-2 offsuit. I would like it better if it's suited, but still connected. Still have ace, so top card right here. It ends up getting limped in all the way around before the button decides to raise it up to 200. The small blind folds. I go ahead and make the call to 200 with ace high and at least a connected ace deuce. Unfortunately, they're offsuit, but we go ahead and see the flop 6 ways. We got 1 fold out of that. So the flop comes and it's really not great for us. At this point, I go ahead and check it because I'm not connecting here at all. No sort of flush draws, no straight draws, nothing. So it checks all the way around until the cutoff bets 100, and then the button decides to raise it back to 200 again. At this point, I'm thinking someone's probably on a flush draw. Maybe there's a pair already. There's also 9-10 queen. So, Jack king, Jack ace, 8 jack, anything like that. Like they could get there. The button, bigger range, especially with this player. So I decided to not play this. It ends up being a good call on my part because as we can see, the turn comes. Someone could have potentially hit a flush at this point. We see that again, the cutoff bet's 200 and the button raises it up to 400, which is very interesting. Um, the turn comes doesn't change much with the 7 of clubs. I guess could help on a potential straight, but if you have an 8 jack, you're already there, so it doesn't really matter that much. But we see these bets and raise, and it ends up winning with the cutoff with the flush. I'm not sure what the button was doing here, but I am happy with my fold. I'm not sure if I should have bet more pre-flop, but again, maybe I would consider that if the ace-2 was suited, but they weren't. Anyways, the very next hand, as we can see here, King 10 suited. Not bad, especially in the small blind. I will definitely play this all day. Again, I just limp in for 100, and the flop it's not doing it for me tonight. We're just not hitting. We get 1 heart, which isn't great, so I'll definitely check to see if we can see a turn, get some value out of the turn. But we don't have top pair. Flush is going to be hard to hit. And then at this point, 4, 5, 6, queen. I mean, it's just a terrible board for us. Again, we'll check it around. I mean, we might as well, but I'm not really going to make moves here. I'm not too confident, especially seeing as how it's 6 ways still, and there's a potential for a straight draw, or even anybody with pocket pairs is going to take this down. I still have nothing, and there's 1 card left. So as soon as someone bets 350, I'm out of this hand. Next hand we get involved in, we are on the button. We get pocket 5s. This is fantastic. Things are looking up. People are betting 200 here. I go ahead and call. Probably should have raised it up, though, to get some more value into that pot. Let's go ahead and try and set mine with the flop. Look at that. We hit a set on the flop. This is fantastic for us. We're still 4-way as well with a queen and an 8. Anybody else that has a higher pair right here, I could probably get them to bet. We go ahead and throw, whoa, half pot bet. What are we doing? I guess my thought process was maybe someone with a higher pair like queens would stay in and call me. However, I probably should have just slow played this, seeing as how I didn't bet too much pre-flop. I think the 2 biggest mistakes here are pre-flop, I should have maybe raised it up to 300 or 400 just to see if anybody would call with a decent hand like ace-king or something like that. But this half-pot bet, I think it's a little aggressive in this case, just knowing that these players, if they don't have a queen right here, they're definitely going to fold. And I probably could have kept in people that had, an ace in their hand, a king in their hand, something like that, or maybe even suited. But yeah, unfortunately, everybody folds. We take down the pot, luckily, but I think I could have played this a little bit better. All right, a couple rotations later, and we were dealt a primo ace-king suited in the cutoff. Look at that. So, yeah, we are 9 ways now at the table. I'm down from 12,000 to 9,000 chips. We get everybody just kind of limping in here with 100. We get 1 fold so far. Now, with a primo hand like this, you definitely want to raise it up. So we bet a whopping 200. Definitely should have raised this up more. I'm thinking more on like the 400 chip range. Get some people to fold that don't have strong hands. That way, less competition when you go to the flop, because I have not been hitting the flop recently. And speak of the devil, we did not hit this flop. I mean, we got 1 heart, but we need 2 hearts here to hit a flush. Not going to happen. I'm not liking this 5 ways. Someone probably has something. I mean, they either have a set of 4s, a pair of 10s, maybe pocket pairs, but just nothing happens. Fortunately, it checks so we can see the turn. The turn, complete brick again. This is just terrible for us. I don't really see any way we can play this hand. We'll check it through. There have been 1 or 2 hands that check, and we can take down the pot with maybe ace high. We do get someone to raise it up to 200, so I go ahead and just make the call. Not sure what they could have. If I do hit the ace or king, maybe I can still beat them. 7 comes, yet another brick. This is terrible. If they bet, I'm just going to fold here. Yep, there it is. We are out of this hand, not worth it. And we see that this person takes it down with pocket jiggities. The next hand we get involved in, we are in the small blind. We get dealt 10 jack offsuit. Now, not a terrible hand, but not a great hand. Seeing as how we're in the small blind, I'll definitely play this. We end up getting 4 limpers, 3 folds. I end up just limping in on this. I could have raised it up to 200 maybe, but I didn't feel super strong, especially since I haven't been hitting. The flop comes, we're in it 5 ways. The flop is pretty decent news. 8-6 of spades and a jack of clubs. So we have top pair, potential backdoor flush draw, and we lead with a measly 100 bet. I think that looking back on this, I probably should have raised it up to at least 2 or 300, gotten some more value in there, really charged anybody that was going for, maybe a straight draw if they had it, or a flush draw, and get anybody else kind of out of this hand. It's just not worth it with the odds when you're going, 4 or 5 ways, but I didn't. Everybody calls. It goes to the turn 5 ways. Luckily, we get a nice brick for a diamonds end. I bet 100 again. Like, what am I doing? I need to raise this up. I need to get some value out of these pots. We go to the river 4 ways, and it's the ace of hearts. Now, this is terrible. This puts me in an awkward spot. And so again, I bet 100 chips. Like, this is terrible for me. If I'm betting 100 chips and anybody has the ace, they're definitely going to raise me up here because they just hit top pair. So I don't really know what I'm doing here. I played every street terribly, but at least we take it down. We get some money, and we're back over 10,000 chips. All right, strap in, guys, because this might be the most exciting hand of the night. Yeah, no, not really. Anyways, we are in the cutoff with dealt 4-6 of hearts. Fairly connected, suited, so we're going to limp in with the nice 100 chips. It's a theme tonight. The flop comes 7 ways, 5-7, king of hearts, so not terrible. We have an open-ended straight draw. We have a potential backdoor flush draw. So, decent amount of possibilities. There's a king on the table, so someone could have king high. No one bets too heavy. We go ahead and make the call for the 100 chips, and we will see the turn now going 6 ways. Nice limp pots here. It's pretty good. So we hit the 5 of hearts. So someone could hit a set here. Also, backdoor flush draw for me yet again. So I think we're going to keep playing this unless someone really raises it up and maybe hit a set or something like that. Otherwise, I definitely like this hand at this point because, again, open-ended straight draw and a flush draw. So we call the 100 chips. 3 people folded. We go to the turn 4 ways, and we see the beautiful jack of hearts. Now, at this point, I don't know if anybody else is on a flush draw, but my hand's looking pretty good. No one's betting that heavily. Luckily, I am last to act. We see a bet of 300, which isn't too crazy, and another person calls it. So I'm a little nervous, thinking that, maybe somebody else has a flush draw. Potentially, maybe they just have a pair of kings or jacks. Either way, we go ahead and raise it up. Both people end up calling, but we take it down with the flush draw. Both hands get mucked, so we don't know what they have, but hey, we won a nice pot here. We get a nice addition to our stack, but I don't really know if I could have played this any better, having such a low flush draw. Don't really hit anything until the river. It's tough for me to try to really increase that pot size too much without either scaring people off or just getting myself in a bad situation where I end up folding. So this next hand, we have pocket pair of 9s in the small blind. Now this is fantastic. We're seated at a full table. We got 9 people, hoping to get a good amount of limpers. When it gets to me, I decide to raise it up to 300. That way you get some people with weak hands out right away. You can kind of just collect the blinds. And as you can see, everybody limps in except for one that folds. So this is a perfect situation here. When we raise it up to 300, another ideal situation, we get 2 callers and we just get the 500 extra chips from the other players that fold. So this is great. Now we're going to the turn 3-way. Unfortunately, we're first to act. It's 7 jack jack. Not ideal for us. Doesn't really help us at all. Rainbow board. We go ahead and just put out a bet of 100. Not really hoping for too much. If we get raised here, we'll play it by ear, but 350 isn't enough to get us out of this hand. So we'll go ahead and call for only 250 more. It goes to the turn, heads up. We see a 10. We now have a gut shot straight draw, which isn't terrible, but I don't really like this. I go ahead and check, and it immediately gets raised up to 500. I'm thinking that maybe he hit a 10 on the turn, but at the same time, I don't know what hands he would have unless he had like ace 10 or something like that. I go ahead and just call it because I know this guy bluffs a lot, and I'm thinking that he's just trying to get me off of this hand. So I make the call for 500. We see the river. I check, and he actually checks this time, which is a little odd. So I'm already thinking he has a worst hand. I think I definitely could have played this hand better. Maybe betting the turn, just leading out with a bet to scare him off because we see that he has 10-5 offsuit. So when this flop comes, he had nothing. If I had let out, it definitely would have helped here. Only jacks would have stayed in, and then I could have always just checked the turn if they bet folded, that kind of thing. But I think just sort of like a continuation bet or even like raising it up a little bit after the flop would have definitely helped me in this position. I don't know why this guy called the 300 pre-flop with 10-5 off suit, but he did, and he took it home with the turn. All right, so if you look at our chip stack at this point, it is awfully low, going right in line with how we are playing. Awful. Anyways, we get some pocket sixes here. Not too bad. We're under the gun +1, and we just limp in with the theme of the night, just going with those low chips. Definitely don't want any value, not trying to win big, and just keep playing awful. We're kind of hoping to set mine here, maybe. Maybe someone will raise it up, we'll call it, and we can hope for a 6 on the flop. But no one does. We get 4 limpers, and the flop comes 4 ways. We see 7, 8, 9. So possible flush draws, also straight draws, which is what we have. So we're obviously going to play this hand. So we raise it up to a whopping 100 chips yet again. Just a classical flat C bet, nothing special. Don't get any value out of anybody here. It's more just to sort of build the pot with minimal possible chips. Yes, this is just terrible. Anyways, the turn comes. We bet yet again just 100 chips, and we get a fold. So I don't know how much value we could have actually gotten out of this hand. However, I think I could have definitely played it better. Either way, it ends there. We take it down, and we still have a nice, awfully low chip count. All right, so as you guys know, the theme of tonight is that I like giving away my chips. We're dealt 8-9 offsuit in middle position. We decided to limp in here. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this. I probably shouldn't have played this hand, wouldn't have gotten stuck here. But we do go to the flop 7 ways. So clearly everybody just sort of limps in, mediocre hands. But then we get this flop 9, 8, 6 rainbow. It's looking pretty good for us, honestly. I mean, we hit the top 2 pairs. If there's pocket pairs that we're playing against, we got them. The problem is that it's a very connected board. So I have top 2, but if there's any sets like pocket 6s, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, I'm in trouble. 10-7 suited, 7-5 suited, they could all limp in here, which is a little scary. But I don't see that as a hand that's probably going to play this, but you never know. Anyways, I decide to stick around and see the turn for the cheap price of 850 chips. Yeah. So at this point, I was thinking top 2 pair. I probably have the best of the worst hand, if you know what I mean. So in the sense of, unless you have a premium hand like a straight or a possible set, I have everybody else beat if they just have, a high pocket pair or just, paired up on the board. Now the fun comes. We see the turn. Yeah, so this is where things get a little tricky. Once people started raising it up here, I probably should start thinking it's very connected because the turn is the 4 of diamonds. Obviously no flushes, but the straights are here all day. 7-5s, 10-7s, and I don't think it's necessarily worth it to play here. However, I go for it because it is still 4 ways, and the pot's getting to a decent size. So to me, the bet sizing, I just kind of fell into a trap here and went with it. And that's where we get into even more trouble because, well, the river comes and, well, the bets just get worse for us. Goes check, check, and then we see a $2,500 bet, which is roughly a quarter pot, which is quickly followed up by an all-in. At this point, I'm out of the hand. Anybody who is playing this, you know what? If you want to get the bluff through, you can, because all I have is top 2 pairs. I put at least one of these 2 people on a straight. Seeing as how there's 4 of us on the hand right now, I'm just thinking one of them has the straight. I probably shouldn't have stuck around in this hand this long. Then again, top 2, it's not bad, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This was a tough hand, but luckily we threw in the towel. The hand actually gets mucked at the end because the person who initially raised it ended up folding. But the person who takes the pot down did tell me that he did have the straight. So not going to really review this hand, but just wanted to show this to show you guys like how bad the night went for me. I had queen 3 offsuit, which I normally wouldn't play, being like under the gun +1. But with this group, I mean, if you have a high card, why not play it, right? So I could have limped in here, which is the worst part. The flop comes 3-5-3. Would have hit a set right on the flop. Then later on in the hand, another 3 comes. I would have had quads here. Now, I don't know how much value I would have gotten out of these players because it went check, check all the way through on the turn and the river. No action the rest of the hand. So if I repped a 3, I think people would have folded quickly anyways. But this is going to be the last hand. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Aston, look. I know, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's it, buddy. Okay, all right, thanks, Aston. Anyways, that's going to be it for this poker vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed that somewhat decent analysis. Again, if you did, please consider subscribing to the channel, giving this video a thumbs up. I will be posting another video. I tried to incorporate some of what I learned from this game and me not doing so well into my next gameplay. Granted, the last table was, I think we were full. We had 9 people. This table's only 4 people, but anyways, next vlog, check that one out. I did much better and made back some of the money I lost. Assuming we were playing with the real money, obviously we were just playing with play chips, you know, not a big deal. Anyways, that's going to be it for this vlog. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching.